It is another Thursday, another Thursday. I can't believe it. I was just here a few days ago and I am back here again, another Thursday. And to do it like we normally do, and it is about great chat about Jamaica track and field legacy. We talk about anything track and field. Of course, sometimes we go off a little bit, but it is about Jamaica track and field legacy. And of course, tonight we are here to talk about a great man, someone who has done a lot for our track and field. And many of us, including myself, were not aware of this great person and the legacy that he has left behind. And of course, we're talking about none other than Mr. Foggy Burrowes. And his son is here tonight with us to tell us a little bit about his father, just to let us in a little bit. But before I bring him in, I just want to say I hope that you're having a great week so far. Welcome wherever you're coming from, whether you're coming from Africa, Europe, Asia, Antarctica, Oceanic, North America, South America, whichever continent you are coming from. Welcome, welcome, and stick with us because we are going to be talking about another great Jamaican, who has touched many, many lives. And of course, we'll hear from two of them tonight. So stay with us. Do not go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. We will be right back to talk about the great Foggy Burrowes, of course, Kingston College, one of Kingston College's top and outstanding Jamaican. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Jamaica's track and field legacy is unmatched. It is a story of triumph, resilience, and extraordinary talent. But do you know the stories behind the athletes who brought us glory? Hi, I'm HP, founder of HP Chat Track. My mission is simple, to celebrate the rich legacy of Jamaica track and field and shine a light on the incredible people who make it happen. Winning that race was a dream come true, but the journey wasn't easy. It's not just about medals, it's about inspiring the next generation. Jamaica track and field isn't just a sport, it's our pride, our culture, our heart. Every week I sit down with athletes, coaches and fans to bring you stories of dedication, passion and legacy. Plus, we've got exciting news and exclusive insights into the world of track and field. Make your Thursday night be at HP's place. Come hang out with us at HP Chat Track Studio, where track and field is our business. Jamaica, one people, one legacy.
Get up on, no, don't.
And we are back. And with me is the son of Mr. Foggy Burrowes. Good night, Frankie. How are you? Welcome, welcome to HP Chat Track. And tonight we are here to talk about your father, that great man who has done a lot for Jamaica as a country. Welcome. How are you?
I'm fine, HP. I'm fine. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. I love the fact that you are happy to be here. Of course, already, guys, if you want me to see your comments, join us over on YouTube where I'll be able to read your comments and we can interact. And if you have any questions for Frankie, feel free. Already, we have 1972 Olympian here with us, Vonnie M, who is Yvonne Saunders. She's saying, hello, HP and family, and guest, hello, hello. And of course, Roman is also here saying good night. And Frankie, before we start talking about your dad, just tell us a little bit about you. Just tell us a little bit. Just give us the basic to break the ice.
All right. I'll tell you very little because this program is about my father.
Yes.
I am his second of 4 children. And right now I'm a physical therapist. I'm also a mental strength coach. And most of what I do, I learned from my father. Most of what I do.
Wow, wow. That sums it all up. And of course, right there, when you said that you're a physical therapist, I said, okay, so he is very much in the sport, just like his father was. Thank you very much for sharing that. And as you said, this program is about your father tonight, his legacy, what he has done for our country, his contribution to our rich legacy in track and field. So just to kick things off with your dad, who was this man? Why did he do a lot of what he did? Just tell us a little bit about him, whatever you know, before he started his journey at Kingston College.
HB, that's an excellent question. If I had to sum it up, I'd sum it up in one word: service. My father devoted his life to serve other people. It came from his upbringing. His mother and aunt ran a restaurant, so they were accustomed to serve people. But his service was a little different. He served people to make them be the best that they could be. And that's why he did everything he did.
Indeed. As we get into the interview, we're really going to see that he was all about service. And it wasn't just Kingston College that he offered his service. It was here, there, and everywhere. Of course, we will get into that a little bit more. Did he play any sport though while he was in school?
He played every sport.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, he had some records in track that it started a long time at KC. He played cricket. He played football. He played a lot of sports. And the
Wow.
thing about it is that he actually coached a lot of sports, and he coached sports that he never participated in, which was fantastic. Do you know that my father taught people to swim and he could not swim?
That
Yeah,
makes no sense, but he was a great one, so I can understand.
definitely. Hmm.
Wow. How did he get that name though? Foggy. Where did that name come from? Tell us a little bit about. I'm always curious about nicknames.
It was a mispronunciation. As a young boy, the fudge man used to ride his bicycle by, and that man's name was Froggy, but my father couldn't pronounce it properly. So my father said Foggy, and that's how they teased him, and the name just stuck to my father.
I tell you,
Mispronunciation.
Jamaica, we are special. We are a special breed, and that is why I'm always curious about nickname because in Jamaica, behind every nickname, there is a story.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. But you mentioned something about me being a physical therapist, right? My father had 4 children. My oldest sister, Donna, she spent most of her life as a flight attendant, service. I am a physical therapist, service. My younger sister is a doctor in New York, service. My youngest brother was service. In his expertise was in religion. He was very committed to religion, and he would help young people have like a fruitful life, not to be astray, but to have a productive life.
Wow.
Yeah,
Talk about service. This is indeed what you call service, and it is said that children live what they learn, and
definitely,
this
definitely.
is indeed an example of that. Your father was in service, and all his children. Wow,
Yes, yes.
remarkable,
I'll tell you
remarkable.
something a little interesting. Or what
Sure,
happened was that my my father, when he died, he was actually only 58 years old when he died.
very young.
Very young, very
Hmm.
young. And my youngest brother, if you ever see him, he's like a twin of my father. They look so much alike. It was unbelievable. And life is funny, but my younger brother, my father died of cancer. He was diagnosed in summer and he died like 6 months later. My younger brother, unfortunately had a freak accident and died very quickly. And you know what? Both of them died at the same age of 58 years old. Both of them.
Oh, wow. Wow. I'm sorry. So
Hmm.
sorry for your loss.
Hmm.
Sorry.
Hmm.
Sorry for
Hmm.
your loss. Wow. That must have been tough. That must have been tough.
Yeah, it was. But as I said, they both gave their life to service, so their
Mm-hmm.
lives were well lived.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And to be able to pack so much into a short life is just outstanding. It's just brilliant. Just brilliant. And of course, we're going to talk about your father passing a little bit more, but let us roll back a little bit to he graduated from Kingston College, and of course, he went back there after attending Kingston College between 1943 and 1947. He went back, and of course, again, service. Let us talk about your dad as a sports master. He was a sports master at Kingston College.
Definitely, definitely. Now, my father had the ability of seeing people and recognizing the talent in them. He always believed that everybody had some talent in them and they could be great at something. He was one of the first people who explained to me that talent is not only bookwork. He
Yes.
said there are people who are talented painters, singers, athletes. So he believed that everybody had some type of talent in it. And he was able to see and bring it out. He believed that if people just had the help, they could be the best that they possibly can. So his purpose in life was actually helping them to bring out the best in themselves.
I like that. I like what you said that we all have something in us, but we just need to find the right person, the right environment to help you to realize that. And that is why I one of the sports that I like, my favorite sport obviously is track and field. And this is why I wanted you to talk about your father's story because people like your father and Mr. G.C. Foster are two of the pioneers that this that we're seeing now with our track and field and our sport is all because they had a vision.
Definitely. Talk about vision. Um, when Casey was good in soccer, football, and track and field, he had a vision of them competing in swimming. And initially, we only had very few swimmers. So one day he said, it would be nice if Casey had a swimming pool. HB in 6 months, they were building a swimming pool at Casey. He just went about it and he got it built.
Wow.
Yeah, he could see things that he always had foresight. My father would sit down and read 6 books at one time. He was the first person I saw do that. He would read a little bit of each book. And he read different type of books.
That's
Poetry books, history books. One of the books that he read 50 years ago was a book called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. And just now we see a lot of countries in Africa are rebelling against the colonial system and trying to develop their own resources.
mm-hmm.
And he had that idea and those books like 50 years ago. He would sit down and read quotes from all over. One of his favorite quotes was, "No man is an island, no one stands alone." And he would organize, that's one of the reasons that he had organized the KC Old Boy Association in New York, to
Mm-hmm.
be strong together.
And as you talk about one of his favorite quotes, when I was doing my research about him, there's something that I saw that I like very, very much, where he said he doesn't believe in when in Rome, do what the Romans do. His thing is do what is right.
Definitely,
And when
definitely.
I saw that, I was like, I like this because this thing about when you're in Rome, do what the Romans do, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing the right thing.
Exactly.
His thing was do the right thing. And I love that. But I'm going to read something that that is written by Errol G. Lecky. I think that's the pronunciation.
Uh-huh.
And it says, many believe that Foggy Burrowes was the most influential student to wear the purple and white. This is a big statement because KC has produced doctors and lawyers and you name it, every profession, they can say, yes, we have produced someone. But some, Mr. Lecky, believe that your father was one of the most influential person to have worn the purple and white. This is a big statement. When you hear this statement as his son, how proud of your father are you?
Extremely proud. And the thing about it is that he didn't do it in any effort. It was just so natural to him. He would integrate real life instances with stories of all. One of the things he said was that everybody has red blood inside of them. You could learn
Mm-hmm.
anything from everybody. And that's no one is more superior than another. He said everybody had red blood inside of him, except him. He had purple blood inside of him. He loved Casey that much. He would have gone anything for Casey.
It's funny that I've heard that statement so many times from, I have friends who are KC old boys, and I've heard that so many times. If you cut me a purple blood, and I'm
Yeah.
like, wow,
Yes. Yes.
that is the kind of institution that Kingston College is. Where did you went to school though?
Of
Kingston College?
course. Of course. Of
Oh
course.
my word.
Of
Oh
course.
my word. Nowhere else, right? North Street.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And even in coaching, right? Like the books he would read,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes he would read some quotes. And in the house, I would hear him say it. And I didn't realize that he would tell other people about it. I remember one time in Manning Cup, when he was coaching Manning Cup, Casey had a final. And we had a goalkeeper, Donovan Hayes. He was pretty short, but he was our goalkeeper. Pretty short, but he was very quick. So before the game started, he was a little nervous. And my father told him something that he said it helped him through the game. My father said to him, it is not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. And because that, Donovan Hayes, because he was short, he felt relieved, and he just knew that if he just did his best, if he gave a good fight, we would win. And of course, we won.
Wow. What's the motto again? The brave may fall, but what?
Never yield.
Wow, wow, wow. Your father was very patriotic. I'm sure you know this. And I'm not just talking about Kingston College. I'm talking about even in Jamaica because going back to what Mr. Errol Lecky wrote, he said your father would encourage his students to write poems and plays to praise Kingston College and Jamaica.
I give you an example of that. My father told me he carried the Olympic team to the 1972 Olympics. And he told the team that, after the games were over, the festive season, this festive part of it, when they would go to events and enjoy themselves, my father told them that you guys, before you dance with anybody else, you dance with yourselves first to show how much you love yourself. If other people want to join, fine. But you dance with yourselves first.
Wow. This, guys, if you're just joining us, it's all about Foggy Burrowes tonight. It is all about Kingston College. It is all about KC tonight, Foggy Burrowes, and his contribution to school and to country and to family and everyone that he came in contact with. And if the Burrowes family is watching, welcome, welcome. And I want to thank Olympian Dorothy Scott for making this interview tonight possible because she was the one who reached out to you Frankie. And so I want to thank Dorothy Scott for doing that, because these are the stories that we need to hear about. We need to hear about the people who have contributed, the people who have given of themselves selflessly. And as you said, for your father, you summed it up very well. You said service, service, and that's what it was. And let me just say welcome to Cecile Burrowes Samuels, who is here. She's saying Fortis forever. Cecile, why you come in here with Fortis forever? But girl, I understand, because it is all about Fortis tonight, and that institution produced this great man that we are talking about, who have given back himself to country and to Kingston College and to other schools that we are going to get into in a little bit. So welcome, Cecile. Thank you for joining us. Monica Lewis is also here. She's also saying good night to HP and the guest. So she's saying good night to you also, Frankie.
Good.
Cecile, Cecile wants to start a little war in here. Cecile is saying straight facts, Fortis forever. And it's champ season. It is the season. Champs is around the corner. And I love it. And, I just love it. I would say my school forever, but I will not mention 61 Redlands Road tonight. I will just stay at North Street. I will be staying at North Street tonight. I'm not going to 61 Redlands Road at all. North Street straight tonight. But back to you, Frankie. Your father he wasn't just patriotic, he wasn't just a Fortis. Your father was also a mentor, he was a teacher, he was a friend. He loved our athletes, he loved our young people, and he gave of, he gave of himself. I've done quite a bit of interviews on this platform, and a lot of the athletes that I've interviewed talk about your father. They
Yeah.
talk about Foggy Burrowes. Your father would go around and get stuff, whether I beg them or get sponsorship or whatever, and help other students from other schools. This man was special. Your thoughts on that?
First of all, yes, he used to get stuff, and give people. Our fridge had food in it, and he would just bring some of the athletes and tell them to take what they want. Another thing he did is that, he would do things and he would teach us things indirectly. And, sometimes may have a misconception about rich people, but there
Hmm.
are some rich people, who are very kind. And
Yeah.
they used to give him a lot of stuff for the athletes, a lot of stuff, So that was one of the things I was like, wow, you hear that rich people are bad and mean, not
Hmm.
necessarily so at all, at all, at all. I remember that he used to write a magazine, Sports Life magazine, and about sports. And
Hmm.
um, one of the incidents is that we used to live in a house, and the magazine, the issue had just come out. That issue had just come out, and we went to the movies tonight, and they burglarized the house. And would you believe, HP, that they ransacked the house, and the only thing they took from the house was a Sports Life magazine? The only thing.
Oh, wow.
The magazine about sports. Yeah,
Wow.
I know, I know.
Wow. Wow. They knew exactly what they wanted. They knew.
Apparently.
But as a little boy growing up
Mhm.
and seeing who your father were and what he was doing and the people that he was helping and his contribution, how did you feel? How did you relate to him, that man, as your father, and you also a student at Kingston College?
That's a good question. To me, my father was just my father. He was not a great person. I did not realize this until I got older. Um, he had polio, right? We'll give you an example. And he used to walk with a stick. and he used to have to put on braces on one leg. That man used to put on the braces like it's a sock. It's just a part of life. I never heard him complain about the braces. I never heard him complaining about him having polio. And it wasn't until I was, later in life, I realized that, he walks with a stick. To me, it was just something normal.
Mm-hmm.
So when people in school would ask me about it, I was like, So I asked him. I said, Dad, you don't feel like insecure or unsafe because you walk with a stick? And he said to me, it's one of the best things that ever happened to him. I said, why? He said, because wherever I go, people would remember him. I said, what do you mean? He says,
Wow.
he went to an event, and the next morning, these two ladies were talking, and one of them said, Foggy Burrowes was here last night, and the other one was saying, who is he? I don't remember seeing him. He said, that lady said, yes, the one with the beard. And the other lady said, there were many people there with a beard. And the other person said, the handsome one. I said, there are many handsome men there. And then the lady said, the man walking with a stick. And the lady said, oh, the stick. Yeah, I remember him. He
Wow.
gave me that joke. Yeah. So to him, it was actually something good. He said people would always know who he was because he had that stick.
This gives me chills, and I'm going to tell you why it gives me chills. Is how someone can take something negative and turn it into positive. How something like that can hit you in your life and you take a positive, you turn it into a positive. So he wasn't affected psychologically.
Definitely not. Definitely.
Wow, I like that. People will remember him indeed, indeed. Venice is here. Venice Brown is saying good night, HP and guests. Good night to you, Venice. But before we talk a little bit more about the polio and stuff like that, Fortis is a big thing in Jamaica track and field. A matter of fact, for those of you who don't know, Kingston College is, if I may say this, is the winningest boys' school at Champs. Yes, I think KC have what, 36
Something like
titles.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 36. If it's not 36, I stand corrected, but they have over 30 titles. The only boys' school with over 30 championship titles at Champs. And Casey is a big deal. Your father was a Fortis, but your father left Fortis and went to one of their biggest rivals, Jamaica College. You have to tell us that story. What happened there? This doesn't happen every day. This doesn't happen every day where KC leave, go to JC or J. Those three top schools, KC, JC, and Calabar, they don't mix. They don't mix like that. They stay. But what happened? Why did Foggy left Kingston College and go to Jamaica College?
Okay, there's a story behind it. And the one word to explain it is politics.
That word, one of
I'll tell you the story.
I hate that word.
It's a part of life. It's a part of life. I'll tell you the
Yeah.
story. My father loved sports so much that he wanted to develop sports in all of Jamaica. So he got a job at the National Stadium and he would promote sports in every parish. And he was doing very well that at that time they wanted to make him Ministry of Sports. So his argument was that he doesn't want to side with any political party because everybody plays sports. Because of that, he lost the job at the stadium. Now, when he lost the job, he was in an organization, Casey and the J3As, those three organizations, and at the stadium. And some of the people who went into politics because he didn't, he felt that he could not be in the same organization as them at that time. And some of them were KC old boys. So he left KC. And when he left, the JC old boys were so glad that they begged him and asked him to come and coach there. And he said he loved the coaching. So that's why he actually went and go. And this is the funniest thing. The first time my father coached at JC got 67 points. That year, Calabar won sports. KC was second, and KC lost by 67 points.
Wow. Wow. These are the stories that I like to hear because I know that decisions a lot of times are influenced by an action. And I'm sure he didn't just say, okay, I'm going to leave my alma mater like that. It must have been something that influenced his decision. But at the end of the day, it is one Jamaica, we say.
That is why when he went to America, he said, listen, I have no bad feelings. I'm gonna start up a KC Old Boy Association. He did very good in that aspect. He went back, it's the purple blood in him. He couldn't help it.
Wow, no bad feelings, no hard feelings,
No.
no
You know,
malice.
I've never heard my father say a bad thing about anybody. Never. Never. And I didn't realize this until later in life. I never heard him gossip about anybody. There was my great aunt. She had like 9 children for 9 different men, and they looked on her in a bad way. And he said of her, she was a good woman. She was just generous with her love.
No man,
Yes, exactly.
grandma.
Exactly.
Right,
He was
grand.
that type of person.
Yeah, he
He was,
was.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. On the
Let
other
me.
hand, he was a man who really stood up for what he believed in. And he demonstrated one of the incidents that really struck me hard is that one evening he took the family to the Regal Theater to see the Shy Lights. And because he had a stick, he bought the tickets earlier. But when we went there, people with tickets and without tickets had to stay in the same line. So the lines were extra long. So he said, no, no, no. I bought my ticket. There should be a line for ticket holders. So he
True.
came out to the line and people with tickets joined him. When they start opening the gates, they said, no, everybody has to join the same line, and they're not taking the ticket holders line. So everybody left the line except him, our family. And people were going in, and my father said, he's not gonna go in the line, he's gonna stay here. So imagine my father with a stick is banging on the doors of Regal, the glass doors, creating a scene. Eventually, the manager came out, let us in, and gave us front seats. And I'm saying to myself, he just stood up and he just wouldn't back down because he believed in the right thing. That was one of the things that really struck me.
Remarkable, remarkable. We have to stand up for what we believe in. And I totally agree with Foggy. I mean, I have pre-sold tickets. I bought my tickets in advance. Why should I come to your event and join the same line with the person who is trying to access their ticket? It is just ridiculous. And clearly your father, he had his values and the stuff that he believed in. And when I was reading about him, when I was doing my research, I realized that he believed in a lot of good stuff. And
Yes.
as I told you, the one that stand out to me was when he said, I don't believe in the saying that says when you're in Rome you do what the Romans do. What I believe in is that you do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what stood out for me. But your father impacted many, many lives. Many Olympians spoke about him and how he was with people, how he was with the athletes. So let us just listen to what Dorothy Scott Genius had to say about your father. She's a 1980, 1984 Olympian. Let us just hear what she said.
My name is Dorothy Scott Genius. I met Foggy Burrowes in 1973 at the age of 15 when I made my first character team. And we have been in each other's life from then until January 29th, 1987, the day he passed. Mr. Burrowes was my second father, my coach, my mentor, my confidant, and up until this day, he's one of the most influential person I have ever met. And he will live in my heart forever.
Wow.
Those words from Dorothy Scott, genius.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. That is all I can say. Wow. Wow. She said she met your father when she made her first character team. She was 15. And as you can see, she's formerly of very technical. So your father wasn't just service. His service wasn't just to Kingston College. His service was to our athletes anywhere in the world they were. Your thoughts on what Dorothy just said? Are you surprised?
I'm deeply moved. I'm not surprised, but deeply moved.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens a lot when people come up to me and tell me the stuff he did. You know, just the other day, when I went to school, first form, this guy Michael London, Casey has 2 campuses, and he came to the wrong one. And my father said, "You're supposed to be at the other one. Jump in my car, and I'll carry you there." And that's how he met my father the first time.
Wow.
Yeah, just helping him. Yeah.
Foggy Bars people we're talking about. Foggy Bars, one of the most influential person to have worn the purple and the white. That was what I read in an article. And for somebody to write that about another person, it speaks volume. It speaks volume. Welcome, Tamika. Tamika is here. Tamika saying straight out of Fortis. No, I think I'm going to block these people. I think I think I'm going to block them now because but I love it though, people. I love it. Fortis, yes, Fortis all the way tonight. Cecile B is saying good evening, enjoying the interview. The brave may fall but never yield. I don't know. It is so what is so funny that KC is an all boys school and women knows the motto. It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. But
Yeah, they said my sister is the only girl that went to KC. My sister Anne. That's
wow.
what they tease her and say, yeah.
That means she has the purple blood also running through
Yes.
her veins. I love it. I love it. But before we go any further, let me just look at some of your dad's legacy. I mean, I don't have enough paper to write everything, but let us just look at a few. He was a captain. He was a captain of athletics as a student at Kingston College. He was also on the football team where he played the forward. So your dad was scoring goals.
Mm-hmm.
He was a teacher at Kingston College. He was a sports master. He represented, his track club was Lucas. That's the name, right?
Yes.
Lucas Track Club. It was actually a cricket and football club at the time.
Right, Lucas.
Right.
Yeah.
He was an insurance salesman. Is that true?
Yes, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you spoke about the magazine earlier. He was a publisher of the Sports Life magazine. He was one of the publishers. He was a motivational speaker. He was a mentor. He was a giver.
100%.
Hearing all of this, and there's a lot more. What kind of emotions are you feeling right now that we're reflecting on your dad's legacy?
HP, I reflect on my dad's life almost every day, almost every day. Um, so I marvel at what he has done. So things don't really surprise me anymore, but I still marvel at it. That one person could do so much in such a short period of life. And the thing about it that he did it, it was just something natural to him, very
Mm-hmm.
natural. He did it willingly. He did it 24 hours a day, always helping people. And he, as I said, he just put the word service in his mind, and he said that everybody has something to contribute. Everybody, bring out the best in them. Unity is strength. We should all do these things together. And he lived what he preached. I remember one time he used to write a magazine. He had stopped writing the magazine then, and one of his associates, Russell Bell, wanted to write a magazine also. So Russell wanted my father to write an article in it. And my father said, you know what, Frankie, you go out and interview some people and we'll contribute. So I interviewed the soccer player, and the soccer player was like, I am going to run sands, lift weights, train. I'm going to do everything. And I was like, wow, this guy is committed to the sport. So I went back to my father and said, you know, this guy is doing X, Y, Z. He said he's going to be the greatest. And my father taught me a lesson right then and there. He said, Frankie, never, never judge a person by what they say. Always judge by what they do. Always. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. That is so true. The poet Maya Angelou, she said, when a person show you who they are, believe them. Don't let them tell you, but when they show you, then you can believe them. I heard, as I said before, I heard many stories about your father. He did not just help Kingston College. He was like Santa Claus for many of our athletes. He was just giving, giving, and he would go around and get stuff from companies or wherever, and he would help athletes all over the country. And it is just amazing. Let us now hear what Lily Hodges has to say about your father. Lily Hodges is a three-time Olympian, 1972, 1976, 1980, and she too had interactions with your father.
Foggy was a very distinguished coach. He had a very holistic approach to coaching. He would focus on the development of his athletes on a whole, and not just the development of their talent. He would give everyone his undivided attention. He was a coach. He was a mentor. He was a father. And I think his legacy will live on. So gone, but not forgotten.
Wow.
Wow.
Hmm.
One of the things he used to do at lunchtime, he used to go out and watch the boys play. And then he would say to himself, you know, that guy would be a good high jumper. That guy would be a good shot putter. And that's how he would just see the talent in people, and then he would literally go over and encourage them. A lot of times, you know, the kids would want to do something and their parents were very reluctant. He would go in and talk to the parents and say, no, this is the person's talent and it will serve him for life. And as Lilith said, it's not just the sports, it's development of the person on the whole.
Yes.
That is what he was interested in, the development of a person on the whole.
And that is what we want for our young athletes. We need people who care about the athletes, not just the fact that they can run fast or jump
Exactly.
high, or you want to be able to care about, you want people who care about them as Lilith just said. But before we go any further, another Olympian is here with us, and this is Ruth Williams Simpson. She's saying, I'm sure you know that name
Sure.
also, Frankie. She's
Sure.
saying, good evening, HB, Frankie, and all the others. Foggy was instrumental in recruiting me to participate in track and field, which resulted in me competing in 3 Olympic Games. Man, I'm getting chills.
Yeah.
Wow. Your
Thanks.
father was instrumental in recruiting her for track and field games and for track and field meets. And of course, her result is 3-time Olympian. Lilith is also saying, hi, HP, Frankie, and the gang. Marlene Green is saying, good evening. Dorothy Scott is also here, another Olympian. She's saying, hello, HP, Frankie, and all. I have been here from the beginning, but was too emotional to comment. I love the man so much and miss him dearly. Wow. Woo.
He was an amazing man. I'll tell you something about his diagnosis. Unfortunately, he died of cancer.
Yeah. Before we get there, though, before
No
we get
problem.
there,
Mm-hmm.
before we get there, because I have to prepare. I have to prepare myself for that part. I'm going to ask you another question before we get there, because
Sure.
let me tell you, I have learned about your father through these ladies, through these Olympians, because each time they come on the show, they'll talk about this Foggy Burrowes. And I was curious and I said to them, who is this man, Foggy Burrowes? And they told me, and I went and do my research because, I'm very much interested in people who have contributed to this sport that I love so much, whether they're still here with us or not. I am interested in their story. So I have to thank Dorothy, Dorothy Scott, Ruth Williams, Lilith Hodges, even Ethelyn Tate. I've heard Ethelyn Tate talk about him. I've heard Miss Vilma Charlton also talk about him. I've heard so many athletes talk about him, and I want to thank them for bringing him to my attention because I wasn't aware that there's this great man who have contributed so much to our legacy. More credit to Mr. Errol Lecky who wrote, he said it was Foggy Burrowes in motivational talks, attitude, and schemes that affected every boy at Kingston College. So he became a motivational speaker for the boys. Listen this part, he organized the faculty of old boys who coached the track team to its remarkable 14-year consecutive run, and they never stopped. He was able to convince the boys that each one of them had a kernel of greatness in them. End quote. Wow.
And,
Wow.
and the fact that you just said it a while ago, he realized that unity. So what he did, he didn't just have one coach at KC, he had a group of coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unity and strength.
He organized that 14 straight boys champs title from 1962 when Jamaica gained independence to 1975. No other boys school has done that. Kingston College is the second school to have won so many titles straight. Of course, leading the pack is very technical with 15 straight on the girls' side. But this is just remarkable that he had a vision and he was able to pull people, the right people, and them in place. And this is the result. 1962 to 1975, great title. No other school has come anywhere close. That I did not say relating to this that you can tell me. Tell me a little story, Frankie. I know that you have a lot of stories.
Where that is was concerned, he realized that everybody has to contribute, and what he started was he had GC Goldsmith give us exercises, a foundation to strengthen the athletes before they perform. He was one of the first people who did that, believe in a pre-programming exercise. He did that at KC, he did the same thing at JC. He believed in that. As a physical therapist, I would come home and every evening he would give me a new exercise to demonstrate and to try, see what works, what doesn't work. He showed me that you don't do something great by chance. You have to work. He said, every great person that you see did something to be great. You don't see them doing the workouts. You don't see them being disciplined. You don't see that. You don't see their greatness. But every single person who is great did something. He said to me, Frank Sinatra used to swim laps underwater to hold his breath so that when he sang, he didn't have to catch his breath. He said everybody does that. And he realized that if you want to be great, you have to put in the work. He used to ask me if I want to run track. I said yes. He said you have to get up in the morning and train every morning, and then in the evening you go and train with the group. I said okay. And that put in me the realization that you can do anything you want if you put in the work. You have to put in the work. And that's why he said a lot of people who are born with talent are at a disadvantage because they win without doing the work. So once they start losing, most of the time they give up. It's usually the people who have to struggle in the beginning are the people who keep doing the work.
Now I see why he was a motivational speaker. The man have lyrics.
Yeah, yes. A lot.
No, man. He has lyrics, him full of lyrics. He was able to say the right thing at the right time to the right people.
I tell you something a little personal.
Please tell me.
So. I used to go to KC, and Tex Lane is very close, 2 streets down. So at the time, there still is this religion, Rastafarian. And I met a person who lived there, and this person gave me books to read. His name is Brother Ricketts, by the way. And he talked about, Emperor Haile Selassie, the religion and stuff like that. And at the time I was going there, it was coincidence that he told me that my father used to come in that same yard to play with his older brother. My father and his older brother were friends. And I just end up in the same yard reading about Rastafari and Haile Selassie. So at the time, I believed that you had to have dreadlocks to be a Rastafarian. Later on, I learned that it's in the heart. It's not really on the head. But of course, I have dreadlocks. I am his son living in the house with my mom. And I have to sneak it, keep on my cap. Nobody don't know. So my neighbor, my friend came over, girl, and said, Frankie, here you going dread, here you going dread. And my mother heard. She went ballistic. Said, no way you stayed inside this house. No way. Wait until your father come home. Father came home and she said, Foggy, I have something to tell you. Come in the room. After about 5-10 minutes, I hear my father say, no, I hear my mother say, you're not running him out of the house. You're not running him out of the house. And my father said, listen, if I run him out of the house, people out there are going to take advantage of him. Police going to take advantage of him. Other people going to take advantage. No way, I'm staying in here. So I was like, whew. And then him come to me and say, as long as you respect your mom and me, you can stay in this house forever. I was like, wow. I really never knew the value of that until when I was young and I went outside and I met a lot of people who parents put them out of the house because of that. Put them out.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, and my father did that with me. Not only that, I've met women who, because they're pregnant, them parents put them out of the house.
Oh yes, man. Yep.
Yeah. And I was like, so sometimes I never realized its true value until later in life. Yeah.
Indeed. Before we go any further, here we have another Olympia 1988, Vivienne Spence Morana. She's saying Foggy Burrowes was an awesome man he was. She said, I adore him. He fought for me to go to LSU, but it just did not materialize. It was not meant to be. These are the stories that I like. So you see how many people rolling out that your father impacted their life?
You know, when athletes used to go abroad, right? He said it's good for them to get a chance. However, this is what he said, that when people go abroad, what the schools would do, if they needed 4 athletes, they would recruit 15, 10, 12, 15. They would put all of them on the same training program, and the ones that survive would be the ones that represent the school. So he said that in Jamaica, the athletes are good because of the system. In America, the athletes are good in spite of the system. So he had really preferred for a long time ago if athletes would stay in Jamaica and develop their talent, which they do now.
Wow, if he was still here, he would have been a happy man to see what we have been doing for the last 20 odd years, where a
Definitely.
lot of our medalists at the highest level are
Definitely.
now being trained at home. And it's funny that you said that because Mr. G.C. Foster, he had the same vision. When I did my research on him, he said, I am going to show them that we can train world beaters at home. And he trained Mr. Arthur Wynne, who won
Correct.
Jamaica first Olympic
Big
gold medal.
Yes.
So
And
your father and Mr. G.C. Foster, they had the same vision for the sport that we love so much today.
definitely. That's why they did what they did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing,
Mhm.
amazing, amazing. 1954 came and your dad's life changed in many ways, in ways not even he imagined. Polio dramatically changed his life, limiting his mobility and force him to adapt to new challenges. But it also ignited a resilience that shaped his remarkable legacy towards overcoming all these challenges. That's just amazing. And let us talk about this a little bit. What was it like when your father was diagnosed? What was his mindset like? How did it initially? Talk to us a little bit about him being diagnosed with polio.
I can't. He was diagnosed in 1954. I was born in 1955.
But I mean the stories, the little stories you
Well,
have.
after, yeah. So when he was diagnosed with it, I wasn't really there.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. But he used to wear a brace on his leg, and as I said, he never complained about it. I I never knew that he was afflicted. To me, he was just a regular person. And he never complained about it. He was just a regular person. It wasn't until later in life, as I said, I noticed that other people, were not afflicted and were didn't use a cane. Um, he he set the example that don't care what happened to you, is the way you look on it. He said that without even saying it. Some of the things he did in our HP is that he set an example that he never really had to talk about it. He never really did. He would just set an example of, listen, this is what happened to me. I'm going to go on and I'm going to do what I feel is right in Jamaica for Jamaicans. So he set that example without bragging about it, with not saying it every day. He just went about his life and did what he believed in. And that's the example he set for me.
Amazing, amazing. He did not stop. It did not stop him any at all. And before we go to my next question, Vivian, Olympian Vivian Morana is saying, Foggy was a man of his word, an honorable person. Polio did not stop him from being a wonderful person. He always had a smile on his face and was extremely positive.
Extremely.
Yeah. I can tell you that I am being inspired tonight because life is throwing so many things at us, and we are sometimes we complain but to be hearing this story now, I can tell you that my mindset has been reset in some ways, hearing that this man who was hit with polio in the 50s and the things that he went on to do even in the 80s is just outstanding and remarkable. It is just outstanding. Marlene Green, welcome. She says, yes, guys. Thank you very much, Marley. Guys, please remember to like, to share, to subscribe. I don't know, for some reason. I think I'm the only podcaster that don't remember to say this. But guys, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much for showing me some love there. Thank you very much for that, Marlene Green. But going back to you, Frankie, up to the time when your father was struck with this disease, he was actively playing sports. He was playing cricket, he was playing football, what some people call soccer, at his club. Did he ever share any stories with you if he had to stop dramatically? Did he go back? Did he share any story that he had to stop playing sports?
And you know what? He didn't, and I think he did that intentionally. I think he didn't want me to be sorry for him. He didn't want anybody, especially me as a son, to be sorry for him. He never said how it dramatically changed his life. He never did any of that. The only thing he said about it is that he believed that if he had ate healthier, his resistance to it would have been stronger. That's what he believed. And he said at that time he used to eat a lot of sweets. That was like the main thing. And he think that him not eating healthy really contributed to him having polio. And because of that, he was like a health freak in the house. He would have things in the house that was so healthy. We was like, what is this? He would make something for us called molasses lemonade. Stuff like that he would make.
Wow.
Yeah. He was one of the first persons who I saw use a blender. He would blend. He was one of the first person who put a chin-in bar in the house. He would do.
What is a chin-in bar?
The one where you have between the doors and you do pull-ups on it.
Oh.
Yeah. He was the one who did that. I didn't even know what it was. I saw him exercising one day, and yeah. So because of that, it shaped his life to be as healthy as he could be. And as I said, he never complained of having polio. Never.
Wow. Talk about taking the negative and turn it into positive. But you said something earlier that I don't know if you want how much you want to talk about it, that he was diagnosed with cancer. It was actually cancer that tell me a little bit about that. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. In the summer he had his skin was like itching all over. And it just got gradually worse. They did a lot of tests, dermatologists. Eventually, he went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Listen, you have skin cancer." My father said, "Really?" He said, "Yes. For a black person to have skin cancer, 1 in 6 million black people get skin cancer."
Wow.
My father looked on the doctor and said, "Whoa, doctor. I knew I was special, but I didn't know I was that special."
Wow. Again, turning a negative into a positive reaction. Wow.
After that, we would go to treatments, and I would go on. One day he said to me, "Frankie, I'm lucky." I said, "You're lucky?" He said, "Yes, I'm lucky to have cancer." I said, "You're lucky? Why you say that?" He said, "Because the type of cancer he had, it was itchy skin. So it was like annoying." He said that people who have cancer usually have pain. He had no pain. He just had mass discomfort. And he looked on that as a lucky thing.
Wow.
Amazing.
Again, this is just
Amazing.
amazing. This is just amazing. And some of us, we cannot get the food that we want to eat today and we complain. We get upset. And here's this man being hit with polio, diagnosed with skin cancer, and still find that happy place to be positive about it is just remarkable. I am inspired, as I said before, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
this
Even
man is indeed, he is indeed special. I've heard it from many of our athletes, and I am now seeing it for myself. Never met the man, but he is indeed a special one, and he has contributed a lot to our track and field. Know that when we look back at the history of our track and field, his name is right there. But let me ask you, was your father ever did he ever get an award for anything from the country, from any of those ODs and
I think because he never, how should I say it? He never fell in line in order to get those things.
but that doesn't discredit that
I
should not
know,
dis that
I
should
know,
not
I
discredit the
know.
work that
One
he has
one of
done.
the times they were considering naming a house after him at KC, like board, the houses,
Mm-hmm.
and it never materialized. I think because he had left and got to JC, but it never materialized. One of the time the government was considering to give an award, but he wouldn't participate in politics. As a matter of fact, when he wrote his magazine, it was doing good. But you know what? He said to me one day that in selling Sports Life magazine, you get a lot of money when people advertise
In
and
it.
when people take full page ads. And he says the companies that were doing it were like the cigarette companies and the alcoholic companies. And he didn't believe in those. He says it's hard to do sports and put that in his magazine. That's why he had actually discontinued it. So the point is that he would think and do the right thing as opposed to doing the things that people like to make him get those awards.
Man, I like this man. I've never met him, but I like him. And the thing is that he has integrity and he stand by what he believes. He was a visionary. He saw the positives in people. He did not have time to see the negatives. He
Definitely.
saw the positives and he was willing to do whatever he could for an athlete to realize their dream. You heard what Vivian said? Vivian said he was doing everything for her to get a scholarship to LSU.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't materialize, but he did everything he could.
Mm-hmm. That's the type of person he was.
And
He
that's
lived the life he spoke about. He lived it. He didn't just say it, he actually lived it.
This is just amazing. Dorothy Scott is saying, I remember that drink, Frankie. He had us making He had us making it and drinking that mixture. What is it?
Molasses lemonade. It's lemonade with molasses in it.
Oh, you use molasses lemonade though. Molasses isn't it that thick, black thing?
Yeah. You just make you just make lemonade and then you put in a tablespoon or two of molasses in it to taste.
Oh, okay.
But why he actually did it is because at the time, a lot of the female athletes, when they had cramps, they couldn't perform.
Oh.
Now molasses has a lot of minerals in it. So he would make them take it before the period came and during, so that they would replace the minerals that they lost and they would not have cramps.
Wow.
And he did that years ago.
I'm wondering if our young athletes who are active know this, because
maybe these athletes take medication for it now, maybe, but he was
the thing is that with his approach was more natural, because
100%.
with water now and everything, athletes have to be scrutinizing everything that goes in their body, but that is just so amazing. Oh my God, this man was indeed a gem. Winnie Carnegie Davis, welcome. Thank you for being here. All she's saying is wow. Just one word, wow. Vivian Marana is saying his reward or award is in heaven. And I totally agree with her, because I'm thinking now that, I'm talking about being awarded by the country, some OD or whatever. I'm thinking that these are some of the people that we should be rewarding for where we are today in track and field. People like Mr. G.C. Foster, people like Foggy Burrowes, was done so much for our legacy in track and field. They saw the vision, and a lot of what we're seeing now, these men thought about it and put things in action before they departed. Hence, the legacy that they have today.
Definitely.
Wow. I'm going to try that lemonade thingy with the molasses, because I don't do sugar. I try not to do a lot of sugar, so I'm going to try that and see how it works. But your father was indeed a special Jamaican. But let me share some more information. It is said that Foggy Burrowes was one of the cornerstones of Jamaica track and field. So it goes back to what I just said about Foggy Burrowes and Mr. G.C. Foster. Those two men back in them time really set the stage for what we're seeing now. Despite the challenges with polio in his early 20s, which required him to walk with a metal brace, as you said, Foggy dedicated his life to the betterment of the sports of athletics in Jamaica. His story is one of resilience, passion, and extraordinary kindness. And I say those words with every breath inside of me. Passion and kindness. What was he moved to New York after a while. What was life like there for him? Did he continue with coaching? Tell us a little bit about life outside of Jamaica.
So one of the things he did was, he started the KC Old Boy Association, and he had the attitude where, just like in the Bible, when Joseph went away, he sent back stuff to where he was from. He did that for Jamaica, for KC in particular, and he actually started a track club up there in the Bronx Dolphin Track Club.
Wow.
So at that time, people were not only KC athletes, a lot of other school athletes came and joined our club. He actually was coaching at New York Technical Institution. He did coaching there also. Usually in the schools in America, you can't just coach. You have to teach and coach. So he was doing both. It would make his days long, So what he did after a time, he left New York Tech and he just coached. He started a track club there, and then he would carry those athletes to different meets throughout. Basically, it was on New York and Pennsylvania at the time. He would carry them to track events at events.
So he was, even though he was not in Jamaica, his passion and his
Still
kindness
was still in track and field, still in helping athletes,
still in
still
helping.
still in helping KC. He actually had I think it was the May Fair, the month of May Fair, where we used to sell things, send back to Jamaica, and I used to sell it. He was instrumental in that. The annual boat ride, he was instrumental in doing that.
Wow. Fortis, North Street, Kingston College, all about Mr. Foggy Burrowes and Kingston College tonight, and also Jamaica and the Burrowes family. But Dorothy Scott is saying something very interesting here. She said Mr. Burrowes was way ahead of his time. He introduced us to yoga and several exercises that are being used today. Yoga. I thought that yoga just came around the other day.
I tell you, he would always look for that extra edge that will make the athletes a little bit better than their competition. And unfortunately, I was the one who had to do all these exercises before.
You were the guinea pig.
I was the guinea pig. Yeah, and going to physical therapy school was good too. I had no excuse. So yoga, and he also believed in chiropractic treatments way back in then. Yeah.
Wow. My research told me quite a bit about your father. Your father had many theories. And let me tell you, I like some of them. And I like this one the best. Listen, guys, this was what Mr. Foggy Burrowes said. Jamaicans should regard any Olympic finalist as a hero. Your father said that. I like it. He said Jamaica should regard any Olympic finalist as a hero. I have been saying this for a long time that our Olympians, they are special. They are a big deal. They have done a lot in creating this legacy that we have today. This legacy that we have today really started with the Olympians back in 1948. I mean, we could have started from 1908, but of course, Jamaica was not yet a member of the IOC. So Mr. G.C. Foster, who made the Olympic qualifying time, he could only watch from the stands.
Wow.
Yeah, he could not have competed because Jamaica was not yet a member of the IOC. But I like this one where he wanted to show a certain level of respect to the people who have done it on the world stage, and that was one of his
because he believed that you have to put in the work to reach so far. You have to put in the work. So it's a good example to other people. You know, you put in the work and you reach far.
Yeah, indeed. Just to I was further doing my research, and I tried to find as much information on your father as I could. And I'm going to tell you what was my keywords. My keywords when searching was give me a name for someone helpful, motivate others to be winners, give to others other than their own, their disabilities did not slow them down, and they are very patriotic. And I'm going to tell you what comes up. This was what came up. It says in the research, the result was a great name for someone with these qualities could be a victor guardian. And a victor guardian it symbolizes victory, protection, and unwavering dedication.
Wow. That's the word.
There you go. So
That's
your
the word.
father, we could classify, because I wanted to find a terminology
Mm-hmm.
to summarize this man that has done so much for our track and field, because that is what we do over here, and
Mm-hmm.
Victor Guardian, it symbolizes victory, protection, and unwavering dedication. And that was what your father was about. It also gave me some other ideas, but I like that one best. The
Mm-hmm.
others are champion heart. And a champion heart is a true winner with a generous and determined spirit. That was
Mm-hmm.
also your father.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another one is Phoenix Valor, which is rising above challenges with courage and patriotism.
Huh. You know what, HP? Give him all three.
There's another one, Noble Warrior. A noble warrior is fighting for greatness while uplifting others. And the last one is patriot, patriot strong. And that means a resilient and selfless leader for their country.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
Mm-hmm. All of those describe him to the T.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Precisely. All of these would sum up your father. But, in closing, what was his last days like, though? Tell us a little bit about his last days that leading up to that day. As Miss Dorothy said, Miss Dorothy even know she know the date
I
when
know.
he
Yeah.
passed
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
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 What
Yeah.
was his last days like when he now retires from doing all these great things? If
Well,
it's too emotional,
well,
I
it is emotional, but I'll talk about it. I'll talk
okay,
about it.
okay.
Um, one of the things I tell you two stories. The first story is that he went into hospital and he lasted 7 days in the hospital. When we took him on the second, where he was coming home from the hospital the second day, and we were distraught, and my mother accidentally, her door got slammed, her finger got slammed in the car door. I know. Yeah, it was very painful. And the next day when we visited her, when we visited dad, he had it on, she had on like the bandage, and my father was so caring about my mother, I couldn't believe it. What happened to your finger? How that happened to you? How your feet? I couldn't believe it. He was in bed, couldn't move, barely could talk, and he was so concerned about my mom. Unbelievable. The
Wow.
other thing is not such a good story. When he went into the hospital, I saw him in a different, no, let me reframe it. I was a little sorry for him because knowing, his greatness or how he is, to see him in bed like that. And one of his friends who was close to him said that he wasn't going to visit my father in the hospital because he would feel so bad. He doesn't want to remember my father in that picture. Unfortunately, HP, I believe that too. So for the last 5 days of his life, I never went to see him. And I remember I was at work and my sister called me and said, yeah, that passed. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And I left work right away and I jumped on the train. And while I was on the train, I said, where am I going? He's dead. And at that time, I really felt bad that I wasn't there. Really, really, really felt bad. I said, oh my God. And that thing stayed with me for about a month or two. And one day after the funeral, I was talking to my sister. And my sister said, I asked Dad about you. I said, what? She said, Daddy, how do you feel now that Frankie doesn't come to visit you in the hospital? And his answer shook me to the bone. My father said to my sister, I know he doesn't come, but he still cares. I couldn't believe it.
Wow, my eyes getting teary.
He never insisted that I come, never begged me to come. Him just love me. And not only that him love me, him just say, it's okay. Couldn't believe it. My father forgive me for doing that. I'm a remarkable man.
Indeed. Wow. Have you forgiven yourself for not?
Yeah. Since then, that helped.
Yeah.
And I dreamt that he was buried in Jamaica, and I dreamt that the day before I was going to Jamaica from New York. I dreamt the night before. I dreamt that we reached the airport, and I came out first, and he was there. He was there walking towards me with a stick, and I said, "What happened? You dead?" Him said, "I came to tell you that everything is okay. You don't have to worry about everything. Everything is okay." That's the dream I had. So that added with the fact that what he told my sister, it made me have peace in myself. I said, you know what? I believe at that time that was the right thing to do. Now I realize it was wrong, but I can't blame myself. It happened already. And I believe that wasn't supposed to go at that time. Now it's a totally different story. But for him to forgive me like that, I was like, wow.
Remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right up until him dead, him just it did
He's
something.
doing good things.
Yeah.
How can we not be inspired by this story, this legacy of this man to become a better version of ourselves? To be resilient when things are coming at us, when the wind is coming at us, we have to keep pushing in it.
And
Find
always looking
a
for the
happy
good.
twist. Yes, and always look at the good. Always try to see the good in every situation and everyone. Before you start thinking the negative, let the positive comes to the fore before the negative. This is just remarkable, a very touching story. And I have to tell you that I'm grateful that you decided to do this interview because a lot of people don't know anything about this man, and he has done so much for our sport, for our athletes.
So much.
He has done a whole lot. He was a visionary. But to kind of lighten up things a little bit and let our eyes kind of get a little dry because we're here to celebrate his legacy. Even if our eyes get in tears, we're here to celebrate his legacy. So we're going to play a little game now. But before we get into the game, guys, this story is remarkable. Here we have Rainford H, who is on the live, and he's saying Foggy Burrowes was one of the great inspiration in the lives of many track and field athletes, including myself. Wow. Wow. Man, wow has become my favorite word tonight because I'm just in awe that there are actually people in this life that can be selfless. Vivian is saying, when it appeared that the wind had been knocked out of his sail, the Lord picked him up and equipped him to move on. And even at that time, in his last thought, he was able to forgive his son for not coming. And you know something, Frankie, a lot of us feel like that sometimes when we really care about someone and love them and they're on their last. And we always think that we don't want to remember them like that, not thinking that maybe that's when they need us the most. And I've been there, watch somebody that I care about take their last breath beside me on their bed. So I know the feeling. I never wanted to be there, but when I thought about it, I said they need me, so I'm going to. But it's okay. It's okay.
On the
Your
flip,
dad was different. Your
yeah,
dad, he was,
yeah.
yeah.
On the flip side to that, my mother got sick in Jamaica, and we used to go and visit her from Florida. My sister from New York. So one day, my sister said she's not going back to New York because my mama is going to the hospital. She had pneumonia or something like that. And 2 days after that, she said, Frankie, you better come now. Your mother is not going to make it. Well, you know, right? I'm saying, I
You
have to
turn
go.
up. Hmm.
HP, when I go, I talked to my mom on the phone and she gasping. Gasping. HP, I go to the airport. The plane is 3 hours delayed. Land in Jamaica. Call my sister. I say, what's happening? All my sister said, come. She don't tell me nothing else. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Maybe my mother gone. The ride come for me. We get lost. A 15-minute drive take 25 minutes. I'm like, I can't believe this happening to me again. I walk down the hallway and I go in and I see my mother barely breathing, barely breathing. I was like, wow, I made it. I hold her hands and in about 20 minutes she was dead. I
Wow.
said, I know. I said to
She was
myself,
waiting.
yeah, yeah.
Was waiting.
That's why I know the importance of being there.
Yeah. Indeed. 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 Take a minute before we get into the next one. Guys, tonight is all about a great one, Foggy Burrowes, conditioned by Kingston College, straight out of North Street, Kingston College.
On the right side of North Street.
On the right side.
Yeah. George's is on the other side.
Oh, St. George's College, yes.
Yeah, so always on the right side.
Your neighbor.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Your neighbor, St. George's
You're on the
College.
right side, the correct side.
The correct. Fortis forever. Fortis forever. Champs is in the air. Fortis forever, though. But Mr. Foggy Burrowes, man, what a smile. Look at that smile. When I saw this picture, I was like, man, look at this smile on this man. Resemble Teddy Pendergrass for those of you who love music.
Yes.
If you don't know who Teddy P is, I'm sorry, I help you.
You're too young.
You're too young if you don't know who Teddy P is, but look at this smile on this man and his eyes. Yep. Foggy Burrowes, Kingston College. But we're going to get in this game now. But guys, please remember to like, share, subscribe, all the niceties. Please to show me some love so that we can continue to do this, to bring our legacy to you week after week with these outstanding people that we have produced in Jamaica. So Frankie, what you're going to do for me now is we are going to talk about your father alternately. So you're going to tell me something about your father and I'm going to tell you something about your father. So I'm going to allow you to go first. But before you go, let us just read what Dorothy said. She said, I remember when I graduated from college in 1984 and moved to New York, Mr. Burrowes was busy trying to find a job for me without I even asking him. He eventually did, and that's the only job I had in the US. Wow.
Wow.
Remarkable. Woo.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Remarkable. The stories keep coming. And Mr. Burrowes, you have done well as a Jamaican. And when I hear these stories, I love to say, yes, he is from straight out of Jamaica. Jamaica has produced this one. Thank you very much for that, Dorothy Scott, formerly of Very Technical, also Vivian Morano, formerly of Very Technical, Redford H, formerly of St. Andrew Technical, and Lily Hodges, formerly of St. Mary High, and the list goes on. Vonnie M., formerly of Clarendon, went to school in the US. But so go ahead now, Frankie, you will go first, and then I will go after.
So I must just give a fact.
Just say one thing about him, and then I'll say one thing, and then you go, and then we'll go until we finish. I think we're going to go 1, 2, 3, maybe about 4 times or so.
Okay.
Yeah, so you tell us something first that we don't know about him, and then I'll say, and then I'll tell
that you don't know about him.
Yeah, preferably stuff that we haven't spoke about. So at least we give the audience new information.
Okay.
Or if you want, I can go first and then you can go after.
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. Your father's full name is Sidney Ignatius Burrowes. Woo! That's one for me.
Oh boy. He got into university to a degree, but he preferred to stay at KC and teach and coach.
Okay. One of his many theories was G.C. Foster and G.B. Grant are two of Jamaica's best athletes back in that time, in the earlier days. So G.B. Grant and G.C. Foster was two of Jamaica's early athletes before we had that charge of the Herb McKinley and the Arthur Wins and the George Roden. So he thought that those two gentlemen was two of Jamaica's best at the time. You again, Frankie. Before you go, while you think about that, Vivian is asking the question, how did he inherit the name Foggy? Vivian, we actually spoke about that earlier, but how you want to tell them, Frankie?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
As a young child, I think it was about 6 or 7, the ice cream man used to ride by on a bicycle and ring the bell. So the ice cream man name was Froggy. But my father couldn't pronounce his name properly. So my father would say Foggy. And the name just stuck to him. Everybody started calling my father that name. But it's from a name called Froggy to Foggy.
Awesome. So we have Froggy, the ice cream man, and we have Foggy, who is this legendary of a man. Only in Jamaica. Okay, your time, sir.
Wow. We used to go to the country every weekend, and one time the car ran off the road. We thought we were gonna die.
Oh wow.
Yes, and it just rested on the bank, and he just said, forgot exactly what he said, but basically, get the car back on the road so we can go about our business.
Wow. Where was this? Which parish? You remember?
We were going to, it happened in Vere. I remember, Joy, it was so vivid. I remember we were going around the corner. They apparently just did the road.
Okay.
And the car just slid right over. The banking, the gully banking wasn't that deep, but it was and it just rested on the side like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a white, I think the car would call him Hillman. That was the name of a car.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Thank God it wasn't worse. All right, here is something else about your father now. And this one will tell us that your father was indeed a visionary. And I want everybody to listen carefully. Foggy Burrowes he had a lot of theories, and we spoke about quite a few. But this one I love more than anyone else. Listen to this. Foggy Burrowes said the Jamaican women would be the future bearers of our Olympic hopes. Look at where we are now. Look what our women are doing. Let me read that again. Your father said back in the early days that and this was a theory he had, that the Jamaican women would be the future bearers of our Olympic hopes. And I don't have to say anything else. If you know track and field in Jamaica, it is our women that are the front runners of our Olympic hopes. How did your father know this?
Amazing.
Amazing, amazing that he made this comment a long, long time ago and it has materialized. The Jamaican, I have to read it again. The Jamaican women would be the future bearers of our Olympic hopes. He was not wrong. He was, this is what you call on the money. This is what you call dead on. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Wow.
What you have to say about that, Frankie?
Amazing.
Amazing indeed.
That he could see that, yeah.
Yes, that he could look at what we were doing in Jamaica and he could, without apology, say that it would be the women who would be the front runners of our Olympic hope. That's just amazing. Frankie, Frankie Burrowes, thank you very much for being here tonight
It was a pleasure.
to tell us about this great man. But before we go, is there anything about your father that you want to share that we did not touch on? Anything about this great man, the Victor Guardian, as I call him?
I think the only thing is every Sunday he used to sing Amazing Grace word for word as loud as he could.
Wow.
He used to sing it.
Wow.
Every Sunday. He loved that song.
Every Sunday.
He loved that song.
Was it on the program at his celebrating his life? Indeed.
Yep.
Indeed. When you look back at your father's life and his career and how much he has contributed to Jamaica, to Kingston College, all the athletes that he has impacted in a positive way, I want you to sum that up with one word.
Positive. Positive. He lived his life. That's all he saw. Yeah. He served, but to me, I learned from him positive. You know, you realize in life that you have two sides in life. You have good and bad, positive and negative. But if you just focus on one, you're good.
Yep. Yep. On behalf of this platform, I just want to say your dad was remarkable and he has done a lot for our legacy. He has contributed a lot, touched a lot of lives. And this was why Mr. Lecky in his article could say he thinks that this man is the most influential person to have worn the purple and white. That is a big statement. It means that this person was doing most, if not everything, right.
I want to tell you, HP, that you're doing a good job yourself, you know, having a program like this. And I can tell you right now, my father would have loved it to come on the program and speak to you. He would have loved it.
Wow.
You're doing a good job. Something like what you're doing is something that's what he would encourage people to do. Exactly what you're doing now.
Thank you. Endorsed by Mr. Foggy Burrowes. Yes.
Definitely.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. Dorothy Scott is saying Mr. Burrowes would beg supplements from different companies and drove around the island and distribute them to different high schools. He was one in a million.
Yep.
This kind of passion, this kind of love for country and people, it Whew, I like it. I like it. I like it very much. Never met him, but I feel like I know this man. And that smile that he's giving me, oh my God, all night smiling at me like that. Amazing, amazing. One good looking man too, very, very handsome. Very handsome, Mr. Foggy Burrowes. A Jamaican, another Jamaican that has done great things. Great things. I just want to say thanks to the
Mm-hmm.
Burrowes family. Thank you very much for sharing your dad with us as a country and what he has done. And you guys should continue to tell his story, continue to highlight him. And I hope that the country will reward his legacy, for what he has done, not just for the school that he went to, but the entire Jamaica. And he even took it abroad. He's one of the reasons why alumni have become a big thing. Alumni are so popular these days. And let me tell you, this little world that you guys have at Kingston College, say what you want, but when you talk about pride and patriotic and all of those things, you can say Kingston College is really a force, a family, an institution that look after their own and they stick together and they look after people. So thank you very much for that, Fortis. And before you go, Frankie, I generally give my guests an opportunity to ask me one question. So I'm giving you an opportunity to ask me just one question. Nothing too hard, no, please.
This one is easy. Where do you get that good smile from?
Where did I get this smile from? I think it's my father. And I'm very biased towards my father because he raised me. So
Okay.
I'm going to say my father. I'm going to say my father.
You wear it well.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
It's been
And
a
guys,
pleasure.
thank you very much for being here. Venice Brown is saying, love the interview. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. And of course, Cecile, Cecile, may I Cecile I go follow to
Of
that.
course, the red dread.
Cecile said purple power, Fortis forever. And Cecile, I totally agree with you. And we are in the champs season. It's the time for champs as a season. So Frankie, let me ask, who is winning boys champs?
The non-question.
Woo!
The non-question.
Who is
Purple
winning champs?
power. Purple
Purple
power.
power, of course. All right, all right, all right. I'm gonna make a stop at 61. And for those of you who don't know what is at 61 Reddills Road, I'm not even going to tell you guys. I'm just going to leave it at that. But 61 Reddills Road, we say, but of course, it is all love for all the schools that will be vying for championship in another 2 to 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Let us support the kids. Let us support the program because at the end of the day, it is about Jamaica. When they put on that black, green, and gold, it is all about Jamaica. Whether you went to St. Jago, whether you went to Kingston College, whether you went to Calabar, JC, Veer, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. And if Mr. Foggy Burrowes was here, he would agree with me that it is about the development of Jamaica track and field, and it is about the legacy of Jamaica. And what he has done is why we could be here tonight to talk about this great man. And J Jar just joining us, and she's coming here with her green and yellow to continue the war. And this green and yellow is coming from Monk Street. Is it Monk Street or is it Pug Street? One of them streets. She said one St. Jago, Monk Street. I love it. It is the season and we're all going to have fun watching champs. Of course, we all will be in our colors, but at the end of the day, remember it is about our children and supporting them and supporting the schools. So Frankie, I thank you very, very much. I
Been a
thank you very
pleasure.
much.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me.
You're welcome and have a good night,
You
sir.
too.
Thank you very much.
Keep up the good work, HP.
Thank you very much, Frankie. I will. Keep pushing. Keep pushing.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you guys for being here. That was Frankie Burrowes, the son of Foggy Burrowes, a great man who has done a lot for our track and field. Now, guys, let me tell you, Champs is coming up on March 25th to 29th. And of course, I'm going to be taking a break from the interviews for Champs because next week, guess what I will be doing next week? Next week, I will be revealing the school's Olympic legacy. And what this is the schools that have produced Olympians because this is a war going on for a little while now, especially with St. Jago and Very Technical, which school has the most Olympians, and it is also going on between Calabar and KC, which one produced the most Olympians. So I took it up on myself 2 years ago to do this research, and the data is in the research. I think it's completed. So I will be revealing the data next week. Next week, Tuesday, I will be doing the boys champ schools with the most Olympians. And of course, the Thursday night, I will be doing the girls champ school. And guys, you don't want to miss this because the data is very interesting. It's very close. And I also want to put a disclaimer out there that you are an Olympian only if you competed at the games. I want to make that clear because I know that people will be coming at me when they do not hear certain names. So let me say that one more time. To be an Olympian, to be qualified as an Olympian, you must compete at the games. So making the team and going to the Olympic Games doesn't make you an Olympian if you did not compete. But guys, you don't want to miss this next week Tuesday and next week Thursday because the data is the data is nice. That is all I will say today. Who will be number one? Who will be number two? Who will be number three? Who will be in the top 10? Which schools will be in the top 10? Which schools will be in the top 5? Which schools will be in the top 3? Which school will be in the top 2? Which school will be number 1? And you guys don't want to miss this. And already we have some people here saying, Monica Lewis is saying, St. Jago all the way. J Jar is saying, St. Jago all the way also. Vivian is saying, have a blessed night. Great interview. Thank you very much. Venice Brown is saying, Veer all the way. Dorothy Scott is saying, these St. Jago people need to relax. It is Veer all the way. JJR is saying, I bet I'm going to need security. You see these things now. One person is saying, if a certain school doesn't win, they're calling for a recount. Of course, Cecile B is saying KC all the way. Guys, you don't want to miss next week Tuesday and next week Thursday show because the truth will now come alive when we will. And a matter of fact, every school that produced an Olympian name will be called. So we will have the boys' schools, the boys' champ schools on Tuesday, and the girls' champ school on Thursday. And during Thursday's show, I will also be revealing the overall winner. And of course, we will be looking at the top 10 schools, the top 5, the top 3, and the top 2. And guys, you don't want to miss this one because the race is very close, very close. So guys, until next week, have a great weekend. And guys, next week when you come out, make sure you have on your colors. Make sure you have on your colors. Monica Lewis is saying, Dorothy, not Not time to relax. Of course, a little war is being, but it's okay. I will fix this war next week. Lily Hodges is saying, Foggy was just an awesome individual. Thank you very much for that. Dorothy Scott is saying, you all will when the results are in. If it's not there, I demand a recount. I love it, guys. Next week, Tuesday and Thursday, we will know the truth. Of course, the girls will have to wait until Thursday, but the boys, we will reveal. I will reveal the boys on Tuesday night, the same time. And what a mouth-watering evening it is going to be, because I'm having fun with the data. And to be honest, I did not know that the data was so close. Yes, some of the data is close, but we will work it out. And of course, the top 10 schools, the top 5, top 3, and all of that. But tonight was all about North Street. On the right side, according to Frankie, Kingston College, Fortis, Foggy Burrowes, gone but not forgotten. And he passed away in 1987. And to date, when I'm interviewing athletes, his name is being called. And that means something. It means that he did it well. He did it his way, and he did it well. So we salute Foggy Burrowes tonight. Thank you very much, Mr. Foggy Burrowes. Thank you all very, very much. J. Jar is saying, HP, you better have it correct. I hope I have it correctly done. Of course, you guys will be coming at me if I don't, but it is all in good fun. And as I said before, it is all about champs. I'm thinking about wearing my colors. Yes, the school that I support. I'm thinking that I'm going to be wearing my colors next week Tuesday and next week Thursday, but I don't want to shandy buckle me. So, but for those of you who don't know, shandy buckle, I'm too young. So, you know, for those who know about shandy buckle, yeah, I don't want nobody to buckle me. So I might not be wearing my colors. But guys, thank you very much for being here. It was a great show. I really, really enjoyed this interview and learning about Mr. Burrowes tonight. I've been hearing about this man so long. I had to go and seek him out. And let me tell you, I am not disappointed. I am not disappointed at all. And that smile on him, oh my gosh. That is all I can think about. His smile is just, Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Thanking Frankie and his family again, and also Dorothy, who made this tonight possible. Thank you guys very much. I will see you next week. Thank you guys. I will see you next week, Tuesday, when we will have show number 1, Schools Olympic Legacy. Have a good night. Ta-da!
Jamaica's track and field legacy is unmatched. It is a story of triumph, resilience, and extraordinary talent. But do you know the stories behind the athletes who brought us glory? Hi, I'm HP, founder of HP Chat Track. My mission is simple: to celebrate the rich legacy of Jamaica track and field and shine a light on the incredible people who make it happen. Winning that race was a dream come true, but the journey wasn't easy. It's not just about medals, it's about inspiring the next generation. Jamaica track and field isn't just a sport, it's our pride, our culture, our heart. Every week I sit down with athletes, coaches and fans to bring you stories of dedication, passion and legacy. Plus, we've got exciting news and exclusive insights into the world of track and field. Make your Thursday night be at HP's place. Come hang out with us at HP Chat Track Studio, where track and field is our business. Jamaica. One people, one legacy.